Most of us have used nonverbal communication techniques without even realizing it when publicly speaking. Nonverbal communication is a type of communication that does not involve words. A question Riley Davis brought about is, how do facial expressions influence the way messages are received in digital communication, like video calls? Facial expressions play a key role in the way messages are perceived in digital communication. During COVID-19 and the lockdown that came with the spread of the virus, I have been in positions where facial expressions have affected how I come across when discussing topics on video calls. By taking what I know about facial expressions when discussing nonverbal communication and what I learned from the textbook, I know facial expressions influence the way messages are received in digital communication. Like communication in real life, facial expressions can affect the speaker's authenticity when trying to come across a point. Although it can be difficult to build interpersonal relationships when using nonverbal techniques online, when I form nonverbal interpersonal relationships with my family, I can do it using facial expressions. When trying to communicate in video calls by using nonverbal techniques, paralanguage can also be a vital tool along with facial expressions. Samari Stewart came up with the question, how do nonverbal cues aid our ability to convey emotions and their degree? Nonverbal cues are able to help us convey our emotions when presenting our speech and connecting with the audience. The degree that nonverbal cues are able to aid can vary depending on if you are using the nonverbal cues correctly, and if so, how much are you doing it throughout the speech. Nonverbal cues are able to convey emotions when trying to present the message you are bringing when publicly speaking. For example, I learned when I was discussing the importance of lessening screen time for a previous assignment, the more enthusiastic I was for the topic, the more positive feedback I got from the audience. When discussing our ability to convey emotions in an interpersonal relationship, being able to correctly convey nonverbal cues can go a long way. An example of using nonverbal cues in an interpersonal relationship mentioned in the textbook can be as simple as patting someone on the back to actively listening. I know in my interpersonal relationships, when I use nonverbal cues when conveying emotion to help those around me, it helps them better connect to what I am saying. I formulated the question, how does nonverbal communication correlate with a speech's delivery? Nonverbal communication correlates with a speech's delivery in many ways. The textbook goes on about how when paying attention to nonverbal cues, the cues become a source of information that someone can use to help understand others and become more aware of those around you. Although observing is not always 100% accurate, it can help with the speech's delivery. It enables the speaker to see how the audience may think of their message and how the speaker presents itself. It not only correlates with the speech's delivery, but also interpersonal relationships. A person's body language when actively listening, can give away their thoughts on a topic. By using facial expressions or effect displays, it can help the speaker better connect with the audience. Effect displays can be used just as much outside a speech room too, or in a speech. I have learned that by observing those who actively listen and reading facial expressions, it can tell you their opinion on a subject. A person's voice also plays a role in interpersonal relationships and speech delivery. When observing someone's paralanguage, it can help you determine the speaker's attitude toward the topic of discussion. Nonverbal techniques have helped and played a key role in interpersonal relationships.